We're live.
And hello, everybody. It is Tom Chenault, Adrian Chenault, and this is the Network Marketing Leadership Show, sponsored by Maple Street Business Biscuit Company and also Troy Dooley's Tattoo Parlor, along with Contact Mapping. So it is going to be quite the show. And I just want to let you know I love all of you, and it's been an interesting week. Another round of letters coming from the FTC going out, and it's scary stuff. And what I want to talk about with Rob Sperry and Troy Dooley is not biscuits, even though there is a new pork biscuit that Troy's all a Twitter about. It's going to be something quite deep, don't you think, called figuring this whole thing out and putting the light on Rob Sperry, because he was so brave that he's actually the first guy that did a live event coming out of COVID. And it was really, really cool. He had a big event in Vegas, in Nevada, not necessarily Vegas. And I saw Jordan Adler stop by, and they did all the compliance to make sure everybody was 6 feet away and wore masks and that whole deal. But I'm telling you what, he is a leading edge, early adapting guy. And Rob Sperry, how are you, buddy?
Doing great. I'm excited. I'm wearing my bright orange shirt for those of you that have a visual, just because, you know, when you got the Adrian and Tom here, you got to really stand out. And then you throw Mr. Troy Dooley, and it's like, geez, I got to really try to stand out. So I got the orange shirt on. That's my go-to move today.
You're a very good-looking man. You love him, don't you?
I do love him, and I love the orange shirt. Just the whole thing.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Maybe that's like the Idaho State Broncos, though.
Right. Yeah. So what's the story, Troy Dooley? Why are you on here? What's going on out there in the world of compliance? It's nothing but deep water and people getting the crud scared out of them. People selling tickets because it scares people and fear sells. Do we have anything to worry about?
Well, you know, I think we've finally come to a tipping point where we need to start truly looking at each other and holding each other accountable, not in a let's blast everybody way, but, you know, and I've said this off the air, we see that commercial all the time that says friends don't let friends drive drunk. And I think that's where we're at in direct sales right now. If we see someone that it could be crossing the line, whether they're with a company that we're with or another company, if they're a friend of ours, then we need to be contacting them and saying, hey, I think you crossed the line. You need to be careful on this, you know, and if that doesn't work, then it, you know, we'll have to make a public statement on it. And I think uplines, downlines, sidelines, companies, if everybody works together and we look at what the FTC is doing, they've sent out, I mean, a boatload of letters. We can see what they're kind of honing in on. And now we've got to literally say, okay, let's fix this. Let's stop talking about income claims especially without any kind of link back to an income disclosure statement. Let's stop making any type of claims about COVID or Corona. I don't want to see somebody say, I got a product coming out that's going to stop riots and protesting. We can't touch this stuff if we want to do what's right and not have regulators taking care of it for us.
What do you think of that? And here's the deal. Everybody thinks it's somebody else's job. And as I was thinking about the show today, I called Sperry on the phone. Of course, he didn't take my call. So then I'm thinking, what am I going to do here? How am I going to get some compliance going into this? Because I was thinking about Rob Sperry and what a trainer to the profession he is, and what a stand for professional network marketing he is, which is no income claims, no product claims, education, education, education. That's what you're doing, Rob. But everybody thinks it's somebody else's job. And we make it our job, but it's everybody's job, starting at the very top, right, Rob?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you look at the best compliance is culture. When it becomes where it's just socially unacceptable, then that's when it catches on. I mean, if you think back to the studies when they tried to get people to brush their teeth and they couldn't until it became a social issue where it's like, you don't brush your teeth? I can't even believe that. I can't believe you don't brush your teeth. And it's the same thing as far as compliance goes. And the thing that people don't understand is it's not just protecting the entire network marketing profession, which is a huge thing. Don't be selfish, right? But it's also it's the right way to create long-lasting success. Because when you make those false type of claims, and when you get into the hype zone, what you do is you end up sacrificing long-term gains for short-term gains. And that never creates what people really want to create, because everybody wants time freedom. Everyone wants to create some sort of residual income. And the problem is easy in, easy out. And we treat this like a get rich quick scheme program. And then it's net lottery ticket marketing, net hoping, net wishing, net looking around, right? Not net work marketing. And then we got people like, after 4 months, I've made $100. This thing sucks. Whereas in traditional business, most businesses don't turn a profit for 3 years. Real estate, my piece of property, one of my rental properties, it's worth $300,000. So I'd have to put 60 grand down, and then I would hope to cash flow a couple $100 a month, and then hope that they don't bail on rent and nothing breaks. So this is incredible. It's not easy, but we pitch it as so easy, and we think that it's just compliance, but it's also more than compliance. It's actually to help you to build a successful, sustainable business.
That's really well said. And the underlying theme of that is that so much of what is wrong in the stuff that the FTC is going after is that people are trying to make it sound easier than it is or better than it is. And most of the time that doesn't work. And when it does, it only works in the short term. And so if you're really trying to build a residual income, then you're shooting yourself in the foot by doing that. So it's actually against your own interest to do that, even if these watchdogs aren't breathing down everybody's neck.
So what's our next move? I mean, as I think about this, and with a guy like Rob Sperry and a guy like Troy Dewey, both of you guys were very successful network marketers, and you bounced out to get to the training side. And you had to have done that for a reason. You were both making giant dough. Was it some sort of conscious decision that you decided to go train the profession, and you couldn't do it within your own company? Your company wasn't as good as you were. What is it that had both of you guys step out and say, I'm going to become an Eric Worre, I'm going to become a Ray Higdon, I'm going to become a Fraser Brooks, I'm going to become a Todd Falcone, I'm going to become a Danny Clark? What was it?
I'll let Rob go first.
You want to go first?
No, Rob can. Go ahead.
All right. So for me, it's probably, I'll just say it. I used to make fun of trainers and coaches, right?
Yeah.
I made fun of network marketers as well, and then became one. Made fun of coaches. I'm like, if you can't build, go train. That was my perspective as I looked at it. And I mean, that's just full disclosure. If you would have asked me even 2 years prior to start coaching, to me, it wasn't even a possibility. In my mind, it wasn't even a 1% possibility. And as I started posting consistent content on social media, I wanted to create leverage for my team, and I wanted to become a much better communicator. And so I'm like, I'm just going to put myself out there and do it the right way. And then as I started doing that, I started growing a much larger and larger following. And that's when it started hitting me of, maybe I could feel like, right? I know that it's not the exact terminology we love using, upline, but we understand what that means. But maybe I could be an upline of everyone. And of course, it's not everyone, but of many different leaders and companies, and help provide the insights. And most people don't remember this or don't know this, but I coached tennis. That's what I did for 7 years. I was the tennis coach. I was the tennis guy. I ran a tennis club, taught tennis. Everything I did was breaking down complex things and making them simple, and working with personalities and different teams. And then I even coached a high school tennis team for free once I started in this profession. And I coached a high school team for 13 years and did it for free. Just, I love that kind of coaching. I just never thought it would be in this. And so for me, is I was in a transitional period of, do I jump back in and find a company, or do I coach? I started coaching. And then at some point I knew I had to make the decision. And Tom, you were one of the people that called me out and you said, hey, I'll promote you. But I loved it. You said, you just got to tell me, just be straight up with me and tell me, are you going to go back in the field? And if you are, just say it. You said, I don't really care. I just need to know who you are and what you're doing. And I told you at first, I'm like, I'm not sure yet. I'm like, I'm not going to tell you I'm sure until I'm sure. And then once I knew, you were one of the very first people I called. And I said, yeah, I'll never, ever, ever go back. And you didn't even challenge me. You said, okay, I believe you. I trust you. And now you know that. I think you thought that, hoped that right before. And now you know that. And so for me, it's one of those things where I literally wake up, and you should see my to-do list. It's like literally I put 25 things and then I narrow it down to top 3 and focus on those. I wake up excited. Like this is something I could see myself doing in 15, 20 plus years. I'm passionate about it. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I can make a bigger difference, and I just absolutely love it. So it just happened. It was never the plan, but I'm grateful for everything I went through and building so that I could actually learn it and understand the field so I can understand both sides.
Cool. How about you, Dooley?
You know, it's similar to Rob on the fact I wanted to help everyone. Coming out of the Marine Corps and already being a coach, leading others, what I found is in 2010 when I made this shift was we had a lot of wonderful reps in the field that had decided they wanted to be company owners, but yet they didn't know how to run a business. They knew how to run a distributorship. And we saw a lot of mistakes being made, kind of like we do today, where there were a lot of income claims, there's a lot of healthcare claims. And I was privileged to be mentored by Rod Cook at the time, who was the MLM watchdog. And he kind of guided me down a certain path and said, look, if you can help people understand the complexities of marketing and compliance so that they can let those two merge together in social media, then you'll make a place for yourself. And that's literally what we've done. And now I'm able to help those people. I help top reps in the field. We help everyone when we do the videos that we do, but then I help a lot of companies get it right the first time. Because, man, everybody's excited, Tommy. You know how it is. I mean, a guy comes out with a new product that's going to put hair on your head, and he's making claims about it before the FDA's even looked at it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something. Both of you guys are on my short list of people that I trust, that I know have no agenda or anything going on the side that is completely contrary to what they're saying from the stage. And I really, really appreciate that. It is critically important that the integrity starts at the top of the companies, for the promoters or whatever you guys call yourself, the trainers, and also the top reps. And you've got to be congruent with what you say your word is. And that's all I've ever asked. So we're going to take a little break. It is a great day. And thank you, GCN, for sponsoring this show for 12 years. Thank you, Ted Anderson, sponsored by contactmapping.com. We will be right back. And we're back, Maniac Boys. So we got them all. So here we go. Let's go. So what I think most importantly for everybody today is to get that nobody really understands what the FTC is up to, except they're tightening it down to prove to us that somebody's got to do it. And if it's not them, it's going to be, if it's not us, it's going to be them. And I think that's an important thing for us all to remember as listeners. And the name of the game is treat these human beings that are out there suffering from COVID-19 and all the stuff going on with it, instead of using them, abusing them, and trying to monetize them. Just love them and let them breathe a little bit. And if they want to find an opportunity, they'll come and find you. But treat people like human beings, which is a segue. You need to build an app for that.
I think I should. You know, I actually have been thinking about this a lot, right? Because I think the problem out there is that when you go and put, are you worried about how COVID-19 is impacting your business, or what? Like when you put that on blast, of course you're putting a target on your head and your company. I mean, it's insanity. But think about the last 20 conversations you've had with a friend. How are things going while you're stuck at home and all this stuff come up? Of course it came up, because we're relational human beings. And so if your heart's in the right place, then go have that kind of conversation in a real heart-centered way, one-on-one, offline, instead of just shouting from the rooftops, bet you wish you had a home-based business now because of hashtag COVID-19 and all this stupid stuff that people are doing. Don't do that. Go talk to people and show an interest in how they're actually doing. And you're going to have the right conversation instead of just repelling people and getting the FTC sending you letters to your company that you don't want to have happen, right?
Yeah, 100%. So
Sure.
that's just so obvious, you guys. We're trying to be professional network marketers here, but we're also trying to be great human beings. And professional network marketers and great human beings don't step on other people's head to get to the top. So forget the sign up game and try to work on the enrollment game, which is looking at everybody that you can make a contribution to, no matter what station in life they are, rich, poor, whatever. And I don't want to get into any, I talked about that the other day, the whole race thing and the whole shot. No, I truly want to embrace everybody. And it makes me sick how much oppression has gone on in this Black Lives Matter, these peaceful protests. I'm in love with them because I'm telling you, it's important that we return to love, return to compassion. All of that is critically. Who's any better? I'm sure as heck not. You agree?
Yeah, completely agree.
I agree too.
That's what I like to hear, Troy.
You guys are, I love it. Always just love, right? I mean, that's what our industry is teaching, is the relationships. I mean, that's what it's about. Doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. It's like, you guys know my she's half Polynesian, like just like, yeah. And she's 10 million times hotter than me as well. But like, she's just, who cares, right? We just want good human beings. And it's sad, but I think in our industry, we have an incredible opportunity to really spread that love and just teach people to do it the right way. But it doesn't work when you're like, hey, your business sucks right now.
I know.
Your job, come join me, right? Subliminal, COVID-19's affected you. Like,
yeah, you're right. All right, let's go back to the radio. And welcome back, everybody. It's Tom Chenault, and it is the Network Marketing Leadership Show with Adrian Chenault, sponsored by ContactMapping.com. I'm trying to get that on the regular radio these days, and I always say it in the breaks and I always forget to say it on Ted Anderson's 550 radio stations, and I get in trouble. So anyway, we've got Rob Sperry and Troy Dooley here, and these guys are deep thinkers and really, really good people. And Troy was telling me during the break about a company that terminated a couple of people for speaking out about Black Lives Matter. And they just gave them the heave-ho. And I don't care what side of the coin you're on as a company. You can go look at the CrossFit guy or a myriad of everybody, Roger Goodell. I don't care who it is. I don't think that you as a company owner need to be a judge and jury out there. You're going to have a complete army of reps that are of every race, every creed, everything. And the name of the game is, again, go back to what contactmapping.com is all about. Love like crazy, then love more. Troy, it's bad. That's a pandemic in itself. These people that think that they own people, right?
Well, we can look at it like that. And I do think that's part of it. I think the bigger issue is fear. And for years, especially in direct sales, we'll use from stage that fear is false evidence appearing real. The dilemma is in the 2020, that fear has become alive, whether it's with the pandemic, whether it's with protests, whether it's with riots. People are feeling the fear from the corporate level down. And when everyone's watching the TV, when everyone's trying to make, I think, informed decisions, there are going to be people that cross that line. And in direct sales for decades now, probably since the start of the Afghan war, we have all talked about if we could get more people in our organizations, we'd have less war, we'd have less racism, we'd have less everything, because we all hang out together. And one place that you can see this, if people really just focused on it for a minute, when you look at the millennials in direct sales, they are a wild and crazy bunch of kids. And they don't know what color anybody is. They're just out there having fun. They're out there growing businesses together. They don't care if you were poor yesterday, rich today, if you were black yesterday and purple tomorrow. They don't care. They don't care what sex you are. They're out there building a business and trying to change the community. And I think some of the company owners and some of the reps in the field need to do the same thing. Stop trying to be the judge and jury. if you have an opinion, you're an independent distributor, you have the right to tell your opinion. But before you do that, you need to look at your policies and procedures, because almost every policy and procedure has a clause in it that says that you must put the company's reputation as a focal point. So whatever you put on Facebook, whatever you put on social media, whatever you're tweeting, whatever that's called, you have to be cautious in that. You've got to balance it a little bit. And company owners, company compliance teams, you need to make sure you hire a constitutional attorney to make sure you're not crossing the lines in what somebody puts on their personal profile that has nothing to do with your company, because this is a balancing act. And I think if we all work together, if we all try to educate each other, if we all just bring it down a notch with our fear, we can work through this and we'll be better for it.
So Rob Sperry, as you train people, you are like one of the top trainers in the profession, in my opinion. You train people not to make income claims, health claims, not to be unprofessional, not to throw up on people. You teach them the high road, don't you? Always,
100%. I think that those principles are timeless, right? I mean, they're just timeless principles. The other things are for the weak, and it looks like the shortcut, but the perceived shortcut ends up becoming the long road. It ends up becoming the road where it's like another shortcut, another shortcut, another shortcut, another shortcut. And if you would have just gone the right way the first time, even though it's perceived as longer, it's the right way and it ends up becoming shorter. So you just have to understand that. And that's why, we always hear Curtis Broom say, marry the process, divorce the results. Easier said than done, because we're drama kings and queens. Someone great joins your business and it's like, oh, I'm going to Bora Bora. I'm going to be retired. This is awesome. New Range Rover. And then someone good quits your business. I don't have any time. I'm not good enough. I don't know anyone. My friends just don't like this kind of thing, right? So we got to learn to discipline our disappointments. We got to learn that typically things aren't as good as you really think they are, and they're not as bad as you think they are. They're somewhere in the middle. And as soon as we learn to manage those emotions and truly marry the process and divorce the results, is when we can actually start focusing on the solutions more rather than the drama, which I say this out of experience, because you guys know I'm as low key as it gets. And I was a drama king in my mind. I didn't let my wife know because I was too macho, too tough. But in my mind, it was like, I was like this. In my 5th month in the business, I made less than $400 for the month, worked 80 hours a week. And she was like, is this going to work? I'm like, uh-huh. And in my mind, I was like, I have no freaking clue if this is going to work, but I'm just going to keep going step by step and make it happen.
All right, let's take a little break because we got to pay the advertisers. So here we go. We're coming back right after this. This is the Genesis Communication Network. Thanks for listening. It is the Network Marketing Leadership Show. We'll be right back. Okay, so this text is interesting. I understand that we need to marry the process, but I want to know how he married that Polynesian girl. So everybody really believes that she is pretty smoking, and you must have a hell of a personality is all I can say.
Jeez. I mean, it's like Tom said when we were in Amsterdam and introduces me and he says, has anybody seen Beauty and the Beast? Because I think I saw that movie in real life.
Oh,
and I'm like, yeah, you forgot that. I didn't forget that.
Unbelievable. You have, what I love about you, and I love this actually about Troy, and I actually love that about Adrian, and I'm not that great about it myself, which I should be better looking at the scenario, and I don't even know if she's even listening right now, but you guys do a great job of exalting your wives. I mean, you really do. You got all the pictures all over the world with you and the kids and the beautiful stuff. And Troy's wife is a romance novelist at a high, high level. You guys don't even know that. I mean, she's like famous. And it is, her name's Paige Dooley. Paige Winship Dooley. Google her. Her books are unbelievable. And you and your wife, I mean, you got married when you were like 4. And it was just, I mean, you guys have been so happy. And I was over at your house today. and you're wrapping you've been married. How long you been married?
12 years.
12 years, right. It looked like a honeymoon. And me, it's just not so good. I'm just bad at it. I'm not an outward guy, and I need to learn from you three. So I wanted to say that during the break. I'm good. Here's the deal. I'm a really good contact mapper because I interview people really well. I document them really well. I follow up on them really, really well. But I'm kind of a great place to visit, but you don't want to live here. But I get away with it because I'm so doggone good at documentation and follow-up. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that.
Not bad. So I'm not
You're
a bad.
good. You're good at documenting. I think you're a great place to visit, not but terrible place to live is a little bit of a lie.
Really?
I think you're okay to hang around with.
All right.
I've survived 35 years of it.
All right, good. I appreciate that.
You know how we can take care of this, Tom? Give me access to your Facebook profile, and I'll send you a bill every month, but I'll write really cool stuff about Denise, and she'll think it all came from you. Okay, so you'll come up a notch in her life.
Oh man, I am telling you, it makes I cringe watching your stuff. I mean, I cringe, not because it's bad, because it's so out of my comfort zone. You're so good at it, Troy, and you love her so much, and you've been married so long, and your kids, thick, thin, high, low, grandkids, the whole shot, and watching you survive in this business down in Florida, go all the way to the top, have some stuff happen with your kids or with your businesses. And I'm just telling you, your marriage has never wavered. And that is so inspiring to me.
Did you see my post today?
No,
I did.
Which was a romance?
I'll read it to you right here.
I saw one about stealing people from other people.
No, I tried to strengthen, I put that in quotes, strengthen my relationship with my wife last night, ... She told me she was social distancing.
Yeah, that's the story of my life. Yeah.
Jeez, who does that?
Yeah, that's just horrible. And then he posted something else about stealing other people from other companies. Is like somebody's trying to steal your wife or something. What was that one all about?
Yeah, I mean, the analogy is this. It's like you got someone that has a great marriage, and you go to them and you're like, "Do you have a good marriage?" Yeah. Well, let me tell you why it's better to come with me, and it's better to marry me because I've got this and this and this. And that's too much what network marketers do is they feel like that's the shortcut to be able to take someone from another team. Now, look, if someone's leaving no matter what, there's no harm in that. They're going to leave no matter what. You feel like you can provide something for them. But I would always ask the question, are you sure? Are you really sure? I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that poacher. I believe karma is real. So I think for our profession to go to another level, which I believe we've seen that the last couple months for the first time in a long time, is it's got to become more attractive to people that are outside of it. We keep trying to take from everyone else, and that just hurts us all.
But that's all the training that you do again. Let's go back to the radio. This should have been on the radio anyway. Welcome back. It's the Network Marketing Show with Tom Chenault, Adrian Chenault, sponsored by contactmapping.com, which we have not mentioned in one commercial so far, which is unbelievable. No wonder we're broke. But at the end of the day, everybody, I have got two great guests with me today, Troy Dooley and a guy named Rob Sperry. And Rob Sperry, it's robsperry.com. I called Rob on the phone. I said, what do you want to promote? And he said, nothing, man. I just want to make a contribution. I said, Troy, what do you want to promote? He said, Maple Street Biscuit Company. I go, okay, well, we will. It's got no problem. We're going to get you a couple free biscuits out of this deal. So that's where we are. So is there a website, Troy? Because this thing's going out over 550 radio stations all over the world and on the podcast. Do you get any more leverage from actually having some real ears on it on the radio? So do they have a website or is it?
Yeah, maplestreetbiscuitcompany.com.
Oh, how sweet is that? Good deal.
That's
All right,
good.
back to the real radio. And God, you got Jordan Adler listening. You've got the great Danny Clark, who's going to have a huge event, another one, which is exciting coming along. Yeah. And I'm just in awe because I look at that and I see that happening. And I see that basically Rob Sperry and Troy Dooley and a few of these other guys had babies. Like, because Danny wasn't doing it. And all of a sudden he stepped out and he decided to jump in the deep water and he linked arms with guys like you guys. And all of a sudden he's coming out with integrity, doing what he's doing. And it just makes me proud to know you guys, because you know me really, really well. And I've called you both out big time about full disclosure. I said, I don't care what you do as long as you disclose it. Just don't ever let me catch you doing something that you said you weren't doing. And both of you have lived up to that at a major league level. But what I love about you is you're kind of raising the bar for all the outside trainers in the profession, and they're realizing that integrity is everything. And I want to thank you guys for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for holding us to that standard at the beginning. When you called me out, I'm like, whoa, this guy's coming guns blazing. But you're one of those people that's insanely loyal. If you cross Tom, but as long as you stick to what you said, the guy's as loyal as it gets, which I can 100% respect. And Adrian, you already know that. And Troy, I know you can respect that as well.
Absolutely.
And what about the Bitcoin world? I mean, here's the deal. These network marketers are making income claims for like $500 a month. You know, and it's the FTC's writing letters, and I keep seeing all that. But these Bitcoin people and these coin deals and all these Forex, these guys are talking billions of dollars they're supposedly making in a week. Are they ever going to crack down on those guys, you guys, or is it just the wild west?
No, and I think that's probably part of the issue that we see in traditional direct sales, is because they see all these wild income claims over here. So people think, well, if I'm going to compete, then I need to do the same thing. And I think we need to get rid of competition. If you actually have a phenomenal product, phenomenal company, phenomenal team, then just go dominate with that. Don't try to compete with everybody. Okay. I can remember when Amway was out there and everybody thought Amway was the only company, but you had Fuller Brush, Shackley, Watkins, you had Herbalife coming on. Nobody knew because they were so focused into what they were doing. Social media comes along and, you know, we're looking at all kinds of things. So you need to focus in on your company. Don't look at what everybody else is doing. But Tom, to your question, right now there's some major investigations. There's been some SEC letters. I've received 3 this week from 3 different people in 3 different companies. So there's major investigations going on in the crypto, Forex. I mean, that whole sub niche that's in the financial side. There's some major investigations going on where now we see where the agents are actually saying, hey, I want to talk to you. I've got some questions about this company, whether it's a former company or current company. We are starting now to see the SEC take a little active role too. So this staying at home, this COVID thing, I mean, these guys, you know, they got bored. Now they're out there really digging in, I think, starting to send letters to people.
So, Rob, do you train people to go to a company that is reputable, a product that is reputable? Do you tell people that, or do you just, when they come to you, you're just going to train them and it's buyer beware? I mean, do you try to let these people understand that there is risk with any security, whether it's Bitcoin or Forex or anything to do that the SEC or anybody else can get involved with? There's probably some risk there because it's a security. Do you actually tell people to go, this is hard work that takes a long time? And I don't think people get that unless people like you guys are telling them, don't go in there because you're going to build an organization and then it's going to go off a cliff. Everybody's going to hate you. People will go to jail and you're going to have to start over and you're going to have a tainted reputation. Do you train that?
Yeah, what I found is the best way to train on stuff like that is by asking a lot of questions. Questions are the answers. And by asking questions of, what are you looking for? Are you looking for something that's long-term? Okay, who has done it? What companies have done it long-term? What are the companies that haven't? Why haven't they? And help them with a series of questions rather than always coming in and saying, do this, don't do this. Now, are there a couple companies that I won't say publicly? You would, Troy, maybe. But are there every so often, right, where I'm just like, I've got to help them out. Like, I'm sorry. I'm like, please don't announce this publicly. And if you do, I'll admit it, because you know me. I'm always just straightforward. But I'm like, don't go there. Don't do that. And that's always an issue. And the other thing that's kind of a side topic, and we probably don't want to go there now, is I get a message probably every, one of my goals is to not even exaggerate a little bit. I would say I get a message minimum once a week of a leader that is trying to get me to not like another leader.
Oh, yeah.
Because their experience, which is probably truthful, but I have to go off my experience, but their experience was bad. And they're like, did you know how bad this leader is? And they did this and this and this. I'm like, how am I supposed to know? Because, you know, someone else tells me this person's incredible. Someone else tells me this person's awful. I'm like, my whole thing is I got to see people for the best. And until I see them do something that is, you know, and we all believe in forgiveness, but until I see something, I feel like this person's just downright shady, then no. And yeah, I've had people that, you know, I've had to block, of course, people that I've had to make sure aren't part of my top leader of leaders, right? The top earners and that sort of thing, of course.
Yeah, that integrity thing is so important. And one of the things, and I'd love you to talk a little bit about this because you just got off the back of doing this big mastermind, is, you know, one of the things that you do really well is you're bringing leaders from different companies together and actually building bridges instead of having all this back chat and all this crud going on. And so talk a little bit about that mastermind and, you know, especially anything that you've seen that's maybe new or that kind of came out of that mastermind that we can learn from as far as what's working right now or new kind of innovative things that people are doing.
Yeah, successful people just do the basics better. So the basics are always timeless principles, but the techniques change and adapt. Some of the things I've seen some of the top leaders do better and better is outsource. They're doing better with virtual assistants. They're outsourcing and punting on their weaknesses and doubling down on their strengths. So I'll give you an example. I mean, some of these top leaders are like, look, I'm posting my content, but I'm posting on Facebook, and now I'm having somebody go repurpose my content so it's still me on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Pinterest, right? On my blog, things like that, things like recognition. They're like, why are they spending all this time when they have an automated process when someone hits this rank, when their strength is, right, their uniqueness is their leadership, is their leading from the front, right? Different things like that. And so I've seen a lot of these top leaders more and more and more leveraging their time better so they can be more effective with that time that they have and really, really double down on their strengths. And of course, there's other things. I mean, you know, branding's become a really, really huge thing. Leaders have started to brand themselves much better. And when I say brand, I just mean the right way. Some of you guys get so complicated. Just figure out what are the main things you always want to talk about. Stick to those main things. It's not always your business. I mean, you see me, I'm always talking about my wife. I'm always talking about my family. I've done 4 family getaways this year already. I did 7 family trips last year, right? So it's more than just your business. Everything ties in because people are buying you, right? That's an important thing. As far as leadership goes, right? I understand, like, as a company, you don't have a legitimate product or company, you got nothing. I mean, that's the foundation as you go. But you've got to develop that. So that's like a quick 2-minute version of several days that we could go in depth on.
Well, you've made a difference, I'll tell you that, and I appreciate that. And I think about what you guys are up to and what you're trying to accomplish, and I'm in awe of it because I don't think the companies are doing it. And again, it's a small handful of people that are so serious about that because they're so morally and integrally strong that they're making this stand for, let's go back and train these people and train the companies. And, you know, you've said several times, Troy, and you, Rob Sperry, hey, I want to talk to this company, that company. I think I could help them come back into the lane because it doesn't feel like they're paying attention to it. What do you think about that, Troy? I mean, do you think that they just need to bring, you know, I know you love that one lady that I can't think of her name. Tough lady.
Oh, Donna Marie.
Yeah, that lady. Yeah, scares me out of my wits because she walked up to me one time and just stuck her finger in my chest. Said, you don't know jack smackety smack about compliance, Tom. I need to be on your show. And I kicked Robert Kiyosaki off because she scared me so bad. Yeah, she is bad to the bone. But we need people like that out there really leading that can help with that, right?
Yeah, we really do. She, matter of fact, Donna Marie, I call her the queen of compliance because she can go into a company, clean up their team, train their team, put them in the place where all the processes are in place so that it becomes that educational side. You know, so many times people think compliance is like bringing the hammer down, because the teams that are in compliance have no people skills whatsoever. At all. And that hurts more than it helps. So Donna Marie has a very good ability to do that. But I think what companies should look at is that educational process on the onboarding side. If they would just put some really fun little creative animated videos on the onboarding side that says, hey, you understand you can't make these weird income claims, you can't make healthcare claims, you can't do that. That's going to stick in people's mind. People want the education. That's why Rob and Eric and all these guys are out there able to do these giant events, is because people are hungry for the education. So if companies would take control and do that, you'd have less issues. If they would take a little bit more control of their marketing, if you look at the top tier companies like Primerica, Legal Shield, Keller Williams, these guys control the message so that they don't have to worry about the regulators as much. And that's what some of our regular companies ought to do a little bit more often, and we wouldn't have near the trouble that we have.
All right, we got to take a break. Final break coming up right now. It's the Network Marketing Show with Tom Chenault, Adrian Chenault, Troy Dooley, and Rob Sperry, sponsored by ContactMapping.com.
And Maple Street Biscuit
The Maple Street Biscuit Company, and Troy's Tattoo Parlor, and Rob's new Range Rover. What's the name of the Range Rover dealer? You probably got a deal on that.
Of course I did.
Huh?
Of course I did. I went through a guy that went through an auction.
Okay, good. That's a nice little trick, buddy. Unbelievable. Very proud of you. Good to see you styling it a little bit.
That's pretty good.
All right, what are you doing with? We never talked about your company one time.
Jeez, that's the worst sponsorship in the world.
I know it.
So I'm really excited. We're gonna officially announce in a couple weeks, because we're getting a couple of final pieces ready to go. But one of the things that has been a big deal for us and that we've been thinking about for a while is we really want to work with leaders in network marketing and people who are building teams. And to help them do that, one of the barriers that comes up is, even though contact mapping has always been really affordable, it wasn't free. And so we have just made a shift, and there is now a free version of contact mapping where you don't have to put down a credit card, you don't have to do anything. And so if you've been wondering what this is all about for a little while, if you have been kind of wanting to check it out, going, I should probably get around to that, but whatever, now's your chance, because you can dive into it for free. And for those of you who are leaders who maybe have experienced it already, maybe haven't, I think this is a huge deal, because it makes it possible for you to say to your entire team, hey, let's standardize on a proven way to build relationships that are going to grow our business. And we can all do it because everybody can use the free version. And then there's a premium version that comes with incredible content around it that's going to help you to grow even faster, as well as premium features inside of the app. So we're getting ready to launch a Facebook Messenger integration and a Chrome extension and some really, really cool stuff there too. And so you can take your people who really want to go fast and you can sponsor them to do it, or they can pay for themselves to do it, but everybody can be on the same platform. And that's a really, really exciting thing. And so that's right on contactmapping.com. You can go create your account for free, no credit card, no nothing. And I think it's going to be a huge deal.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do is just get the masses off their asses. So that's it. So that was good.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And we're in the commercial, so we won't get in trouble from the FTC for that. So that's pretty good news.
But yeah, and Rob, I'd love you to chime in on that. But like that ability to standardize an entire team, I think is super important.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know this. I wrote about it in the game of networking, and this is before we really started connecting. And it's basically it's how to use contact mapping. I mean, that's the whole book before the app was even created, which is pretty cool because you know how big I am on relationships. Man, I did this 13 years ago when I started. I would get someone's name, and then I would like create my own little weird thing of like, okay, NWN standard for network marketing. And then I put L for leader. And then I would put when I met them, how I met them, and anything I knew about them because it was important. I would put reminders. And so now that you've got this process automated and improved, it's so fun to see, because I mean, this isn't something where it's just a theory for me. This is how I built my business. Everyone builds their businesses differently, but this is a relationship type business. So I love having that. I love having everybody in one place, because what do? I mean, network marketing is the most untrained profession. I absolutely love it, but it's the most untrained profession, right? Everyone comes in, it's like the wild, wild west. And now when you can get someone on a platform, a team on a platform, now you can show them the right way and get them to focus on the number one income producing activity, which are leads, right? You're generating these leads, but it's talking to brand new people and doing it consistently. More conversations done right equal more conversions.
Amen. Okay, we got to get back to the radio. All right, this is the Network Marketing Leadership Show, final segment. Tom Chenault, Adrian Chenault, Rob Sperry, and Troy Dooley. And it has been a great show. I love these guys so much. Here's what I love. You know, in fact, earlier, Richard Bliss Brooke called me, and he'd just done a big interview with Kevin Thompson on this very topic. But it's just a brain trust. Whether it's Eric Worre, whether it's Tony Canuli, whether it's Ray Higdon, whether it's the ANMP, it is so exciting to me to see so many people standing up saying, we've got to make this profession better. And if the companies don't do it, by God, we're going to do it as leaders or as trainers. And I think you guys you're right on the money, and I can't thank you enough for doing that. And I was talking to Troy Dooley last night. I think I'm going to try to get Kiyosaki on here. And the reason is, number one, he's a lunatic. Number two, he loves Bitcoin. Number three, he wrote that book with Trump. Number four, we've got to figure out a way to get Washington, D.C. to understand that this profession is indeed a professional profession, and somebody's got to get to the ears of those people. And maybe Robert Kiyosaki could do it for us. So I sent him a text last night. And of course, he didn't return it, but I never give up because I'm a contactmapper.comer. So that's that simple. But don't you think we just got to keep raising the noise? You know, Brooke said something, I think it was Brooke. I don't know who it was. You know, we've got to get loud. We have to mobilize. We've got to police ourselves, and we probably need an association to do that can do it and do it loudly. And, you know, now we've got that guy from Success Partners. What's his name? The guy, the hero, the famous guy that's got all the dough.
Oh, Johnson?
No, Stuart Johnson. Yeah. Now he's on the board of the ANMP. So that's getting everybody tied a little bit better. Steve Wallach from Longevity has said that he resigned the DSA to get more involved with the ANMP because he wants to be able to have a voice and make a difference. You know, Al Bala, you name it. We got to get these company owners just wrapping their arms around the fact that we can make a difference. But if we're completely fighting with each other, nobody's ever going to accomplish anything. So that's what you guys are doing. And I want to thank you both for that.
You hit on that, Tom, and not just the company owners, but we're getting more people now looking at Congress. Ryan Chamberlain, who used to be with Evolve, is now running for congressman out of Florida to get up there. We've got some others in other states that have built their whole careers in direct sales. And I think the more that we get people into Congress who understand the direct sales profession, they're going to be able to educate. They're going to be able to work as oversight with some of those regulators that are there. And that's going to make a huge difference. But it all starts at the grassroots. If we're not self-policing, if we're not holding each other accountable, then it's going to continue to be the wild, wild west. And I think that's what we don't want to do. That's why sometimes when I do the shows that I do like this weekend, and I name a person's name, we don't name people's names to run them down. We want other people to realize, don't run these people down just because something became public. Rob just mentioned this, you know, don't come to me and say, oh, this guy's an evil person. Well, maybe he was evil to you, but maybe he's not. I want both sides of the story, or four sides of the story. I don't just want to make a judgment call and call a company bad, call a person bad. That's probably why half of my clients are troubled children that we're trying to either fix or shut down so that reps don't get in trouble and regulators don't come looking at us.
And I'll give you this. I've called you on the phone. You said, I'm firing this client. I am going to fire this client if they don't straighten out. And I've watched you do that. I've watched you self-police your consulting business. And if we
That's right.
start doing that, you're not a rat, you're just standing for integrity. And that's what we have to do. We didn't, other than at Maple Street Biscuit Company, where do people find you, Troy? Do you have another website or a phone number or anything?
They can go to troydooley.com or they can go to beachsideceo.com. Either one of those.
Okay, that's perfect. There's people asking me, and I certainly didn't want to offend you and not have people call you on the phone.
No, just call Tom Chenault. I'm in contact mapping. He'll take care of it for you.
Hey, look at you yesterday. You wanted to find a famous guy yesterday, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Number one First Amendment attorney. He's got this big thing with this guy that terminated. So he wanted to know somebody in Washington, D.C. that could fire a hand grenade. And it took, 30 seconds for me to give you the number one guy in the world?
If that. Boom,
Yeah.
there it was.
That's contact mapping, you guys. I'm telling you what, I have no assets going for me. I'm not handsome. I'm not young. I'm not rich. I'm none of those things. But I'll tell you one thing right now. You ever need a phone number, I know a guy. And of that, I am most proud, because I am telling you, I want to be that guy you go to, that when I tell you somebody's good, they're good. And if I won't give you a name or I won't give you that person, it's because I don't believe it. And I know that my recommendation is an extension of me. And when you start becoming that, you end up with a really, really circle of friends, really great circle of friends that have turned into, and I'm always crushing his app because it's turned into 18,000 people in my phone with notes. I can get anybody on the phone just because I know a guy. And I want you guys to all be that too. So that's contactmapping.com if I ever heard of one.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So that's what we do. So we got Bardi Toto. Do you guys know her? Bardi, Bardi Toto, Toto.
Don't.
You're Todo. Yeah, either do I, but she's on my show next week. That's awesome. So yeah, no, I read her resume and she didn't look bad, and I got her on, and I got to do a little more due diligence, but I think she's going to be a rock star. She's massively connected. She had some stuff going for her that I think we need in the profession. So we'll see you all next week, and let's hope it's a decent show. We'll see you later. Now that was a rousing endorsement for Bardi. Hope she wasn't listening. So yeah, I'm a terrible talk show host. So anyway, she must have been. Yeah. So here's the deal. You guys are great, and I love you. And you roll with the punches. And robsperry.com, I live there. I follow you. I ask you all the time to mentor me. And you know that as well as I do. And you're usually headed into a much more important meeting and tell me to call you in a month, and I call you in a couple of days because that's
come on.
But
You texted me on my way to Vegas, and I called you. I texted you. I'm like, I'm available right now. And then I got ghosted.
That's exactly right. And if you guys ever do get to call Troy Dooley on the phone, it's hilarious because number one, he won't pick up the phone. And number two, that's number one. And number two, then when you finally listen to it ring 9 times, he says, don't leave a message. So you go all the way through to the voicemail, and he says, I'm not going to listen to this message, so just text me. So I just look at my phone, go, I have now in his contact mapping app, it says Troy Dooley, Beachside CEO. Don't bother calling. So now that's what I said. That's what I have, Troy. It's unbelievable.
Hey, but I pick up that phone. When I see your name come through, I pick up the phone. So
yeah, you do. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being on. We'll catch you next time. And I love you. That's all I can tell you. I can tell you I love you guys. I think you're a stand. I endorse you fully. I have asked you both tough questions, and you've never blinked. You just did it. And thank you. So we'll see you all. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks for having us.
See you.